Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another week of UBS Live. I am very excited to be here with you guys after an intense week last week here in Melbourne. We ran the 2-day Speak for Profit Masterclass, as well as we launched the Australian tour of Good morning, Kitty. You did have this in your diary. You're right here on the dot. So I picked a topic today to talk about that is a interesting one that puts a lot of people into fear and frozen to progress into running their own events, as well as it stops them from, good morning, I can see you guys there, stops them from running events ongoing. So before we do that, guys, as we always do first thing in the morning is we just share this live stream in a couple of groups, and we'll get into content and discussions. While I'm doing that, what is it that, obviously fear of not showing up, but what kind of things are you thinking of when you are thinking about events? And post up some comments in terms of the biggest fears that come to you when running events, and let's see if we can overcome those this morning. All right, stuff is coming up on my phone. My other computer's not working as it should, otherwise I would have been on my computer. All right, let me share this into the groups, as I said, and then we'll get into content. All right, so ultimate business support, and good morning for all of you who are logging in. Awesome to see you on the call, and we'll be going for about half an hour this morning. If you're first time on these calls, I run them every Monday morning. Oh gosh, it's been now 4 years, I think about 3 years that we've been doing UBS Live. How many people will turn up from Christian? All right, I've got one more group to share this in, and that's my Author Your Way to Riches groups. All right, perfect. All right, I'm all yours this morning. Okay, so people say, what if no one shows up? What if a small amount of people turn up? What do I do? And I think at any stage of running events, you can have fluctuation in your numbers, especially, of course, in the early days when you start out. It's really an unknown field. So how does one ensure that obviously, your events are well filled in advance and all that kind of stuff? Well, to give my all to events. Okay, one of the challenges are Kitty, and also Kitty, I guess the challenge for myself now, having run events for the last I think I've been running events 6.5, nearly 7 years. Managing the amount of events that I have going on, at any one time. How do you focus on one and not the other, and which one do you give priority to? Good morning, Katerina. Great to see you on the call as well. Okay, so I'm going to try to summarize a lot of this, and maybe I'm going to cover off a lot more of mindset kind of thinking for you to feel better about how you're going about being an event organizer or promoter, over like tiny little strategies of how to fill the room. Because if you want to learn how to fill the room, of course, Francesca and I wrote a book, Bums on Seats. I think you can see it right there where my finger is right now. And we created an online course around it. Basically, when you go into an event-based model, your life kind of becomes a bit of an event manager and coordinator of venues and flights and promotional activities and all that kind of stuff. First thing is first, if you're just starting out or you've only recently started out, I say, of course, start small. So if I rewind the clock back to 6.5 years ago, 7 years ago, I think was my first event. I've been in business 7 years. Yeah, I would say about exactly 7 years ago was my very first event. And when I talk events, I'm talking your own coordinated event where you're getting people in the room. And it can also apply to speaking gigs and being in front of groups of people. But even in that case, sometimes people relax and go, oh yes, I'm going to a speaking gig and all that. It's the best scenario where other people are working on filling the room and you're being the guest presenter. But even in that case, you never know. You may turn up into a room where there could be only 4 or 5 people. So how do you handle that situation? Because then you kind of go, oh, only 4 or 5 people have come to see me. And so then you need to know and understand how to handle that, because all of these variations have happened to me. So what's happened to me? In the past, I've turned up where 1 person came to my event, okay? I've never had a zero event. I know some people out there have, but I have had a 1 person. I have had multiple events where I've had 3, 4, 5 or 6 people, like, a really, really, really small number. And I have done speaking gigs also in front of just a handful of people, where I've turned up and basically that's all, the organizer was able to accommodate. So what's the mindset behind all of that? So it can be it's like, oh my God, what's the point? I worked so hard, I'm invested to go. And some of these things happen interstate when I've invested, obviously, to fly over there, to host an event and all that sort of stuff. And without the power of Facebook advertising in my first, I've really only Facebook advertised for the last 3 years. I really needed to do all the ground foundational hustle kind of strategies to get in touch with people, to see as many places that I could post my event, to contact as many people into those places, to figure out, is there a network there that could find out that my event was happening, and so on and so forth. So there were so many different things, and realistically, when I went interstate for the first time, I didn't use any Facebook ads, therefore I had to figure out, how to get, and I was happy if I would get there 10 to 15 people into my rooms. So the mindset kind of stuff, when you rock up into a room where there's a smaller group of people, I always go, you know what, at the end of the day, this is going to be an intimate scenario, and the right people are going to be in the right room, and we're going to have a great time. It's a little bit more also, I also go, okay, it's a little bit more relaxing, and it's more of like, that loungy kind of conversation rather than, you're on the big stage. And a lot of the time, when this used to happen to me early on, I would walk in and I would kind of go, I'd feel really nervous, and what are they going to think? They'll think, this event is no good because it didn't attract as many people and all that sort of stuff. But then I would reframe it for them. And after a while, I realized not to get disappointed myself into how full the event was, because at the end of the day, I knew, and this is what you should as well, if you know deep down in your heart you've done the best to promote it, to get bums on seats, to contact people, to just do so many, as I say, it takes 10 different strategies to fill a room, especially when you're not using Facebook advertising, as Francesca and I share in that particular book. It's really, if you know that you've done the best you could, and that's all, it is what it is. Because sometimes it's not just, the fact that, people don't want to come to my event. It's actually sometimes time of the year, what other events are happening at that time in your area that you might be in competition with. So there's a variety of things that can happen. Like just now over the school holidays in January, of course, we've started all of our campaigns for all of our February events coming up. And it was really, really slow. Like, people are not really taking as much action and doing as many bookings and all that sort of stuff. As soon as school started last week, it flipped. Almost our numbers in terms of ticket sales, doubled, if not tripled per day. And so now we're into this, upswing of making more sales into our events. So timing wise, that could be the reason. Don't always take it personally. And you never should. People will cancel on you as well. And that's another kind of blow. If you had only 5 or 6 people booked in and then 1 or 2 canceled, that's a big, obviously reduction of the people in your room over if you had 40 and a couple cancelled, you don't mind as much. So managing the mindset around turning up to a small room, turning up, getting the people cancelling or rescheduling or calling in sick and all that sort of stuff. They're all kind of things that you need to manage, not to get your energy down, because obviously you're not going to perform as well notifications keep coming up on my screen, as you can if you're in a positive mindset. So after, in the beginning, it can frustrate you, but I suggest you just let it go. Like, okay, it is what it is now, and I'll do my best with what I have, the resources that I have available to me and the people that will be in the room. So oftentimes in my small events, and one particular one I can remember, like about 4 years ago in Sydney, I had 7 people in the room. Okay, so it was a very, it was a small event. And as a result of those 7 people actually converted into whatever my call to action at the time was in the room. And that was amazing. Good morning, Belinda. Nice to see you. And so then I walked away going, I'm never ever gonna whinge about having a small room or an event with a small amount of people. And I can tell you, the more you get experienced at running events, and also what happens, so why do our event numbers grow? Of course, if you have an advertising budget, you'll spend X amount of money to get X amount of people in the room and so on and so forth. But also your event numbers, and as you become more established and people know of you, and they obviously know what you're an expert in and who you help, what the way that helps is that then other people hear about, oh, you should go to this workshop, or people see your workshop coming up again and again and again and again, which means that if they couldn't come to them last time, they'll come next time, and so on and so forth. A lot of people who come into my rooms think, oh my God, I've been seeing your Facebook ad appear on my feed for the last 12 months, and I finally decided to click and actually come to an event because I've wanted to, I just, the timing was never right. So the more you're around, the more people are going to notice. So main thing is to remember, visibility is huge if you're in the event business. I had 4 cancelled in my January workshop and did feel a little disappointed. They are coming on our workshop on Thursday. I love the reframe of mindset you shared. Yeah, Kitty, that it's going to happen. We had 4 people cancelled from our Sydney event just the last 2 days. That's happening on Wednesday. We have a smaller group in Canberra this time tomorrow. But doesn't matter. I said to Stuart, you walk in, people are going to know, if you're there to serve them. They don't care how many people are in the room. They actually love it when they get a lot more attention and, be, used in the examples, and, it feels more intimate, because then they also learn and get a lot more out of the event. So the mindset is also, the right people are going to be in the right room at the right place. Because often what happens for people as well, so if you're in some kind of a transformational business as well, where by people working with you, it'll create a shift and a transformation within their own self, it can mean that things are going to come up for them because in a way of resistance, because they're actually not ready to take that very next step, which will mean that they will change and transform and transition into a new version of themselves. What has happened in the past, Kitty, like you said, 4 people cancelled. I've had one person, well, not just one person, this has happened a few times before because it's running events for quite a few years, but I've had on multiple occasions people book into my event and then book again the next time I would come into their city, and still again something went wrong, and then book again. So I've had up to 3 to 4 times rounds of event tours, and so which means they wanted to come to my event specifically because they kept rebooking. But what happened is that every time something happened, someone was sick, something happened with their car, their child needed attention, or whatever it was, something always came up, and I'd get that thing. I can't believe this has happened again. And I often congratulate my attendees into my workshop that making it there, because there is resistance that comes up, especially with what I do. Write a book, you're going to be faced with a decision: am I going to finally do this or I'm not? I think, Kitty, your thing is also about transforming. weight loss and, really stepping up and taking responsibility for your health and well-being. And also people making that decision, they can have resistances come up that prevent them to coming to your workshop. So often we'll say, and even with our retreats, and you guys, some of you watching are my authors, you would know that people, so many things happen just before the retreat, delayed flights, people coming with unwell because they've been having some cold and flu come up and all that sort of stuff. We've unfortunately have had deaths in the family happen as well, that have prevented people from either, needing to delay or obviously, not come along to that particular event and stuff like that. So things like that do arise for people, and that's why the mindset has to be that the right people are going to be in the right room at the right place at the right time, right? Because and it's always going to be perfect. It's always going to be the way it was meant to be. Okay. Never have I walked away in 7 years from an event and going, oh, that was really crap, or I don't feel like how, it was too small a room, I didn't enjoy myself, or whatever it was. I have never ever walked away from an event not feeling like I didn't serve those people, that I didn't get value out of what they had. It didn't matter how many people. And that one person that came from in my first year when I had that one person at one event, she actually ended up signing up for a 12-month coaching package at the time, which was an amazing, huge, gigantic conversion, for me at the time. So that's why I always, also the second thing is I say is never underestimate the size of the group. Okay, never. Last year in Perth, when we were having, again, a Facebook slowed down our event ticket sales and whatever, we had 2 or 3 people calling sick. We had 2 or 3 of our authors come and, to catch up and support us. But we literally only had 6 people. Even last year, so many years into business, we had 6 actual potential clients, if you like, in the room in Perth. And 2 people converted into our retreat program, which is massive. You guys would know that's almost $40,000 in sales. Again, not making the assumption that just because you have a smaller room that the results will be crappier, right? Or there will be no results actually. And the way it was meant to be. love it, thank you. Okay, so yes, every time, and Stuart was worried about the Canberra event tomorrow, and he goes, I can't believe, we haven't been able, we've spent like $2,000 trying to, get people, like it's cost us like $400 to get a person in the room, something along those lines. And I said, don't worry, I'm not worried. I'm going to walk in, and we're going to have fun. We're going to serve the people that are there. And as we always say, never underestimate the size of the room or the group, because it is a different dynamic and therefore it produces a different result at the other end. Other times when I've walked into rooms that are 40, 50 people, you know what? Sometimes you don't get as good a conversion result out of a room that big, because sometimes you can't get around to everyone. You can't speak to everyone one-on-one. So therefore, it's a lot harder to have that increased conversion. Of course, you need to have more hands on deck, but sometimes the participants want to specifically also speak to you, so you might have a few people slip through your fingers, if you like, because you didn't have the opportunity to talk to them personally, and everyone wants a piece of you. So sometimes also it's very important to decide, how big do I want my workshops or my events to be, and depends what you're selling, right? So my particular model doesn't, I would probably cap my half-day workshop at the most with 50 participants. We noticed that in Dubai, how I know that, because obviously I tested it. In Dubai, we did one of these workshops with over 100 people over, and it was just very, if you like, it didn't feel very personal, not the way I feel running my own events. But with 50, we did 2 of 50 just before I came home after the last retreat, and they felt a lot more. Even at 50 though, There were people that walked out that couldn't talk to us, and we couldn't talk back to them because we had people scheduled one-on-one after the event. So really, I think a sweet spot for my events to be able to capture and make the most out of it is 40. So really, for me, it's about doing multiples of those numbers wherever possible, and the smaller groups would mean that they'll be more intimate. So however, overall, if I look at a year-long conversion, it sits very consistently at a particular level. So the mindset, just recapping, is when you never underestimate the size of the room. The right people are going to be in the right room at the right place at the right time. That resistance comes up for people, and that's why often they can cancel, and they think it's life throwing a curveball, but it's actually potentially resistance to the change and the transformation that they would embark on if they were to come to your workshop. If you're doing something obviously that's transformational, which a lot of people who watch my lives and who follow me are coaches and transformational mentors, and my notifications keep flipping up on my screen. So they are kind of the things that that you need to think about. Never, ever, 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 ever cancel an event. Never pull out because there's not enough people. Oh my God, what is this going to look like? If you start going down that pathway of not taking it personally, people don't like me. I mean, all sorts of thoughts can come up to in your mind. Then that ain't gonna work very well. So just turn up with confidence, and then the other thing to do is promote, show people. So if you want to get more people to your events, make sure people do know that you run events. Let them know, post about it, go through the story about what is happening without actually saying, come to my event, come to my event. So it's really important to continue. If you run events, you're going to be in the public eye. So it's really important that people observe the journey of what's going on and want to get in, on the excitement. We had so many people last week at the Speak for Profit Masterclass who said, oh my God, I've got FOMO, fear of missing out. I want to be there. I can't believe I couldn't make it this time. I'm definitely going to make it next time, and all that sort of stuff. So if people say things like that, then follow up with them and tell them about next time and get them booked in and locked and loaded. It's really important if someone expresses interest in coming to your events, that you have a way of getting them the date, the time, the link straight away, so that while they're still thinking about it, they can take that action. Thanks for all the love hearts, Kitty. It's really, really important because if you just kind of, I'll let you know when we're next time, they're not thinking about it anymore. So we have pretty much got a spreadsheet of all of our events and all of our links. And as soon as someone says, I'd be really interested, I even actually know them off by heart because I've created bit.ly links for my events. So I know bit.ly Australian tour is all of my Australian cities. So I can send them actually to that particular page immediately. I know bit.ly 2018 planner is my planner page. So I've created the bit.ly links that I know I can remember. Group book launch is my other one. For the upcoming group book launch. That way I don't have to go into a funny looking code, and obviously it looks better when you send it to people and they can click through on it. I also have made sure, and not everyone can do this, but I've made sure that I memorize all of my dates of when I'm going to be in certain cities, not for the whole year, but definitely what's my next Sydney date, what's my next Hobart date, what's my next Perth and Adelaide and all that kind of stuff. Definitely all of my retreats for the year and internationally are all memorized, but I have everything right on hand, or if not on hand, on the tap of my phone to send through to someone who really wants to come. So you gotta get people information while they're thinking about you and they're hot and heavy as you like, and ask for help. Be mindful obviously that not everyone can help promote your event. It's kind of like a fine line, but yeah, really good idea. So you can send the link to them to engage straight away. Yeah, Belinda, it's just Bitly links have become such a big part of what I do, because everything that we get so many codes all over the place, and it's just really messy, but I can commit them to my memory this way. So upcoming, the Kitty who's been on the call today, her and I are doing an event on Thursday night at the Quest in Brighton. And it's all about leaving a legacy, and we're both going to be speaking. So that's the current one. And so Kitty, if you've got your link, post it in the comment below and come and see us. It's going to be a bit of like a networking evening, as well as, speaking and workshopping. And I'm excited to be flying out to Canberra soon. Literally not even packed. I've got everything all around me, and tomorrow's the Canberra event, and then Sydney's the next day, as well as Sydney Coaching Connect. So this week I actually doing 4 events. So in that case, it's like how do you promote 4 events? Well, you kind of can't. You can just tell people the story as to what is going on and when things are. And right now, there you go, I've promoted it on my live. However, it's often there comes a time when you do a lot of them that obviously we invest in paid advertising, and we still do organic advertising to our database, but we're not slamming people with messaging to constantly come to our event, because we want people to feel like they've got value, and they go, okay, I want to check you out and meet you and all that sort of stuff. So I trust this morning has been valuable, you guys. I'm gonna go, and this morning I'm not gonna go over time, because I gotta go pack all my toiletries and all of my oh, look at Kitty's got her Bitly link to leave a legacy. I love it, Kitty. Very good, very good. I love how Kitty has actually modeled all of the things that I teach. And she's, I've already seen her this year host 2 of her workshops, and this is going to be another event, obviously, with us on Thursday night. But I just love the way she's embraced the strategies and the things that we've been teaching her, the things she's read in the Bums on Seats book, the things she learned in the Bums on Seats masterclass, all of those things. It's not easy, you guys. It's not easy to fill workshops, but ultimately, at the end of the day, you are going to have the highest leverage of, influx of sales, exposure to the public, perception to your followers out there, and all that kind of stuff is going to build because of because you've done the hard work. The organizer, at the end of the day, is always going to get the biggest benefit of running an event. Yeah, they've put their heart and soul, they've hustled, they've got out there, they've filled the room, they're doing all of these things, and that's where you get the biggest rewards is, if you do the hard work. There's the law of the universe is that there's balance. If you've done the hard work, you will reap the rewards, but keep going and be consistent over a period of time. So can't wait to see where you're at, Kitty, at the end of 2018, the way you have started. And as I said, start with a smaller amount of events and then build up year after year. And at this stage, I think we're pretty much at capacity, because I'm like hosting 50 of my own events and then taking part into speaking gigs and other things, another 50. So about 100 over a year is pretty much, I think, a human being's capacity, even though there is some speakers out there who do a lot more than that. However, those speakers are most likely not organizing their own events. So mine works like 50% of my events are mine own and 50% I'm a guest at. So that's how I pull together my 100. But of course, if you're a corporate paid speaker and you're just rocking up to events and doing speaking, you can do more than that. But if you got to do all the logistics and be the organizer and promoter and all that kind of stuff, then it's perhaps not as realistic. So I trust this morning's UBS Live has been valuable. If you have been watching it on recording, please write me a comment and post any questions that may have come up as you have been watching this. If you want to come and see us at any of the events this week, just PM me. Obviously, Kitty's put our Thursday event on, but see those that are in Canberra tomorrow and then Sydney on Wednesday and I look forward to seeing you back home, on next Monday, the day before I go to Hobart. So I'm traveling every single week now till May. So there's going to be lots and lots of going around the place, but that's the period we're in. We're into work hard period before the obviously then the rest and recuperate after the May retreat for a couple of months to move into part 2. So we always divide our year into 2 parts. Yeah, Kitty. This is gonna be my 100 events. I did 100 events the last 2 years running. This year is also on track to do about that. But yeah, awesome. All right, you guys, enjoy your move, and Belinda, and I'll catch you guys next Monday, same time, same place. Let me know if there's any topics you want me to bring in terms of what you've observed, because a lot of you follow me and sort of watch me what I do, and they go, how does she do that? Maybe post that up, and I can create some content and reverse engineer that for you so that you know how to model it. I'll talk to you soon. Off I go to pack. Bye.